were embarrassing. We got kicked in the arse often today.
It's more than a training drill. It's a game against witches' hats.
Embarrassingly easy. As bad as it could get, I think. It was not a great 2 hours for the Melbourne Football Club today. It's going to be painful for the next 3 or 4 days.
That's not a loss. I mean, that's the destruction of a club.
There are skirmishes and hand grenades going off everywhere at this footy club as we go to where today.
We're all in this together.
With the Melbourne Demons set to confirm the sacking of coach Dean Bailey.
Jimmy said, I've got some bad news, and he said, I've got some shit news for you.
I think this is a reflection on everyone.
I don't think he needed to say too much after that.
It's our problem.
There's a bullet flying around with all got our names on it. Unfortunately, I got hit last night.
It's been a tumultuous 48 hours, the players needing to come to grips with losing their respected coach.
The last thing in the world that I want to do is be what people say I am, and that is a kingmaker or a power broker. That I'm not going to coach. I've said it, I reckon, 50 times.
Melbourne has turned to former star Todd Viney to take on the senior coaching job.
I'll just tackle this 5 weeks, hopefully do a good job and help steer the club in this difficult time.
Like, I wish I could be doing more, but I just can't.
Because I don't think Jim, personally, in the fight of his life, right now, should be dealing with this.
Footy Show. I think, I know, Sam, you're about to grab hold of Gary. I think we would all do well to remember that since Jim Stynes has taken over at the Melbourne Football Club, they have erased a $5 million debt, and I know how hard that is to do. Their membership's up by 32%. Their home game attendance is up by 20%. Commercial sponsorship up by 54%. They've built a new facility at Amy Park, and they've re-established a very important relationship with the MCC. This man has done a towering job at the Melbourne Footy Club. And just because things might have gone a little awry in the last 5 minutes, you shouldn't forget the amazing job that he and his board have done in a difficult time commercially in the world, Gary.
Yes, well...
No, they're going gangbusters.
Samuel, they mightn't be right at this minute.
No, not at this minute, no.
All of that gets forgotten pretty quickly.
Come on, Gaz. Come over and speak to your old China over here.
We're going over here.
Do this? We're going to just have a chat. I don't even need a clipboard. I've got it because it looks good. I saw Michael Parkinson uses it.
All right.
Brownie, no, I was only reading that letter out.
Samuel, Gary's over there.
What are they going to do, the rest?
Hey?
What are these people going to do?
Well, you're going to educate them about some questions I'm going to ask you.
Serious ones, or...?
Well, first of all, how is your mate, Jim?
No, we should say, and it was reported today that he was back in hospital, and that was a great concern for everyone. But I can say tonight, having not spoken to him, but exchanged text messages, that he's had a really good day today, which is fantastic news. He's up, he's lucid, he's determined to get to the game on the weekend. That's how well he's travelling, as opposed to how he's been the last couple of days. So he continues to defy.
Has he had another operation?
No. He's just been in the hospital to deal with what he's dealing with. So that is great. That is one piece of positive news.
You're the new sheriff in town, Gaz. You've ridden in the White Horse, and you're going to go whack with a very big stick. Surely you're going to do that, or we wouldn't be going through all this for nothing, would we?
No, well, I'm going to go in and try and gather information, Samuel, and do what, footy directors do. And Melbourne hasn't had a football director for this season, and that has been a contributing factor to, some of the problems and issues that Melbourne are dealing with.
Is there anyone at that club that has any idea about what they're doing?
No,
anyone?
I think what the things that James just said would indicate that, there are parts of the football club that have performed really, really well this year. I mean, you can't do those things. And, predominantly, one of the great burdens that they've carried for a long time is this debt of $5 million. And that's, Jim, Don McClarty and that board have done a great job there.
So, if we had unlimited wealth, would we be doing any better?
No, I wouldn't put it back to
so it's got nothing to do...
No, but it's an important part of it. I mean, footy's changed...
Well, you just said it's not.
Well, I'm not saying it's going to change the way that the club has performed this year, but, I mean, it puts you in a position where, all things being equal, you have the chance to be as good as you can be.
What happens if you're not the man? What happens if actually you're no good at this?
Well, there's every chance.
Well, then... Why are you... How do you know you'll be any good at this?
I don't.
Are you only doing this because your friend asked you to do it?
Pretty well. I mean, he asked me 10 or 12 weeks ago to be the footy director, and for all the reasons that I've spoken about consistently, I said no. And I guess at that time I didn't understand not the gravity, but the situation, the issues that confronted the club. And let's be honest. I mean, Jim is not well at the moment, and we know that. And I said on Monday night, I watched him at that press conference, and I felt in some ways guilty that I didn't take him up on that offer.
So did you need to get beaten by 36 goals to understand the gravity of the situation, did you?
No, I mean, this is not just on field I'm talking about. I mean, this is some problems that have,
the main problems are off the field, surely.
Yeah, well, there's some issues there, absolutely. And, and I'm just starting to come to grips with them over the past 2 or 3 days.
Well, did you save Cameron Schwab's job? Wasn't he sacked and then you told him to...
No, I mean, that people speculate about that. I've had no decision, no say in the sacking of Dean Bailey or the reappointment of Cameron Schwab.
I'm going to ask you this question again.
So I thought we were going to do this seriously without gimmicks.
This is not a gimmick.
Well, right, a spotlight's not a gimmick.
Oh, well, it's just a bit of tongue-in-cheek.
It's a bit of a gimmick.
Well, not bad, Jim, is it, the spotlight?
No, I don't mind it. It's a good touch.
We're doing this seriously, Gary.
Well, ask me. Go on.
Well, I'm going to ask you. So, Cameron Schwab, it is reported, was not with us, us being Melbourne, last week, and then suddenly you came in and now he is with us, and it's been extended for a year.
I've got absolutely no idea whether those reports are right, and the reason that I have no say in that is that I've got no understanding of the problems that have been around the Cameron Schwab issue, and it would be wrong, absolutely 100% wrong, for me to make any comment on that.
But thank you for the light. You can turn that off now. It's making me hot. Gary, now please. Now these are the very important questions about credibility. About your credibility.
Well, I can only answer them.
Cameron Schwab, it was reported, or are the media making this up, was not there. He was sacked, or asked to move on, or was told to stand down.
They are decisions for the board of the Melbourne
Is
Footy
that
Club.
correct?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the board about that.
Hang on. I'm asking you.
Well,
you're the man who's ridden into town and has the ear of James Steins.
Ridden into town.
Well, you have his ear, Jim Steins.
Will I have his ear?
You have his ear.
Yeah, okay.
Were you under the impression that Cameron Schwab
had
his services terminated?
A clause in his contract that said he had to be signed up by a certain date. And I think there was a lot of heated discussion about whether or not he was renewed or not. And ultimately he has been.
So this is a fabrication. He wasn't sacked or terminated?
It's not something I know about.
Well, but Gary,
it's not something...
With great respect.
With the greatest respect, it's not something that concerns me,
really?
Samuel. No.
Well, it's about credibility.
Well, of course it's about credibility. It's not about my credibility. I start this thing today. So I'll go in and try and find out as best I possibly can.
Chris Conley, he's come under a bit of criticism.
He has? Yep.
He's a great friend of yours.
He is.
If you found that he wasn't up to it, would you sack him?
We'll make a recommendation based on what I find, absolutely.
And that would be...
Well,
Thank you, Chris.
How do I know what the recommendation is?
Well, what's the criticism of him?
Well, that's what I'm going to find out, isn't it? I hear lots of things, and
Well, what do you hear?
Well, I hear that there's a disconnect between parts.
Get that light on you again in a minute.
Disconnect between parts of the football department, of which Chris is an intimate part of.
We've all got to work together, surely. What have you heard that Chris Conley has been at odds with the footballers?
There's a disconnect between certain sections within the football department, and that is what I need to do, to go and work out what they are, whether or not that is right, what I hear. I mean, there are other sides of the story that say they're not. Samuel, this is one of the issues, right? So you say you are the power broker.
No, I do say that, because you've said that.
I've never ever...
No, in fairness,
said that.
I know when you're serious, Gary. I will take that back.
Right.
I'm taking that back, Gary.
Right.
Don't look at me, don't get angry with me.
Well, don't say things...
All right, well, I'll take that back.
Okay.
All right? You've never said you're the power broker, but you've gone in there because you think you are going to make a difference, and you've got to think that or you wouldn't be doing it.
Try.
Yes, I know. I think we're past trying now. We've got to actually have some substance to what we're achieving.
Okay.
Now, so did you... I'm going to put the light on again.
No, don't put
All right, I won't put the light on. Did you assist in the process to have Dean Bailey removed from office?
In no way, shape or form.
So the man who runs the football club, James Steins, who has asked you to do a whole lot of things, who seeks your counsel about everything that's going on there, didn't ask you about Cameron Schwab, didn't ask you about Dean Bailey. Does he ask you about anything?
When I went to Jim Stein's place on Sunday, a decision had been made to remove Dean Bailey.
And you
as
weren't
coach.
Consulted?
And I didn't try to talk them out of that.
You
Samuel.
weren't consulted?
Was not consulted in any way, shape or form. I don't need to say it again.
No, but my point is, why weren't you, if you have this great rapport?
Because I'm not a football director of that football club. I sat in the box on Saturday, as I have done since I've retired as a footballer. I'm not intimately involved in the club. So when all these issues come to light, I'm sitting back going, what's going on, Samuel? I don't understand what's happening within the confines of the football club. Okay? So I go on a Sunday morning, or a Sunday afternoon, and see Jim Steins, and the decision to remove Dean Bailey has been made, and we discuss about what I can help with going forward.
Was your decision to appoint Dean Bailey?
Well, I was on the...
that's right. It was your decision.
Not my decision,
Oh,
so
well, all right. Well, you were part of the decision-making board.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So where did that go off the rails? They finished 16th, 16th and 12th.
Yeah, you show me a process that will put in place a selection of a coach that is 100% guaranteed, then give it to me now and I'll put it in place. There are no guarantees when you appoint a coach. Dean Bailey was a candidate, as was Chris Conley, a candidate for the coaching job. We sat down. He's an assistant coach at a premiership team in Essendon. He's an assistant coach at a premiership team at Port Adelaide and the right-hand man. He'd done all the things that you look for in a coach as an apprenticeship. He presented excellently, outstanding presentation. So you make your judgment on those bases. Now, is it foolproof? Absolutely not. Otherwise, everyone you appoint as a coach is going to be a success. Doesn't work that way, Sammy.
Thank you, Gary. Jeff Kennett said you're either in or you're out. You can't be you can't be half pregnant. You're either in it or you're out of it.
In an ideal world, Jeff's right. And look, if you're framing a market on who's going to shoot their gob off first about this stuff, he'd be $1. And I still would have lost 100 grand because he would have been backed off the map. Why he feels the need to stick his nose into other clubs is beyond me. He's done it with his club consistently, and I don't know whether people are bluffed or they sit back. And he's got some bully tendencies, Jeff, and he's got a footy club that he's inherited from a man by the name of Ian Dicker, who did an outstanding job, and he's now overseen a really successful era, and good on him. He should look after that club as he's continuing to do, and I reckon there's a hell of a lot of Hawthorn are going to take a deep sigh of relief when he leaves at the end of the year.
Shit, I'm glad I asked you that question.
Well, hang on.
Sounded like a Dorothy Dixon, didn't it?
And look, the thing about Jeff with his comments today, he gets personal about it in relation to me.
What did he say about you?
He reckons I'm huffing and puffing, strutting around, saying I'm the king. There's nothing further from the truth. So he's either ignorant, ill-informed, or he's lying about it.
Ooh.
Okay, so he can work out which of those.
All right.
Because the things he said today are incorrect. He has his opinion on stuff, and that is absolutely fine. I haven't got an issue with that. But we're not the first club that he's having a crack at. And I guess there's going to come a time where Melbourne Footy Club have got to stand up and defend themselves.
Right, now, Gary.
I'm not copping that from Jeff Kennett.
No, I've got a feeling you're not. Now, Gary, we've got to be quick because the time is of the essence. But in case he gets in his car and drives in here, I'm going to ask you this anyhow. If Mick Malthouse put his hand up, I know he won't, hypothetically, not hypothetically, if Mick Malthouse was available, would you be driving round to his joint now and having a cup of tea with Nanette and he and pleading with him to come to Melbourne next year?
You are a wise, wise man. What do you think the answer to that would be?
Yes.
Why, undoubtedly.
So Mick Malthouse is on your firing line.
Mick's not coaching
but
next year.
You'd never know unless you ask. I know that from personal experience.
I saw him today on the news again, and he said he's not coaching anywhere next year.
And you won't be seeking
I take Mick's
a
word.
meeting with him to see if that is absolutely gospel.
Right now, if things change, please let us know.
Would it be a coincidence, incidentally, that as we speak, Todd Viney is having dinner with Alistair Clarkson as we speak in Hawthorn?
Is he?
At the minute.
Who else?
Pardon?
Who else is having dinner?
I'm not sure.
Who else?
Who else is having dinner?
I think Damien Hardwick is sitting there as the coach of the Richmond Footy Club. So, Samuel, if you're suggesting it's a covert operation, I don't reckon Burke Road, Camberwell would be the place that they'd be doing those negotiations. And,
so you think it's just a coincidence?
Well, no, the fact is that Alistair was a premiership coach at Hawthorn, Todd was his assistant, and Damien Hardwick was
Finally, Gary. Tom Scully, you reckon you've had a few meetings with him and he's taken no notice of you whatsoever. After getting beaten by 36 goals, do you think he's dying to stay at the club? Do you think he just is hoping you will sign him up for just a mere pittance?
Look, I love Tom Scully.
Yes, we all love him.
Able to do.
I love him.
I'm desperate to keep him at the Melbourne.
I know, I am too.
Desperate to keep him.
Yep, he's wearing Ron Barassi's old number.
He is, and so, you know, the debate rages, would you play Tom Scully if you knew it? Well, as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I'm aware, no one at the Melbourne Footy Club is of the opinion right now that he signed with Greater West Sydney. Now, whether that's true or not, Samuel, I take Tom Scully at his word.
I'll take it at his word that he hasn't signed, because that's illegal under the rules of the league. But I'm telling you, Tom Scully has got his bags packed. They're on the station. He's waiting to get on the Southern Aurora to go up to Greater West Sydney. How are you going to stop him?
Well,
what are you going to say? We're a great club?
Well, no, we're not a great club.
No, we're not.
We're not a great club, and we're a club that have got some issues, and clearly the playing group, you know, they're hurting, and they've got some trust issues that need to be addressed really quickly.
Gary?
And try to be sorted out, and Tom's one of those players, and we want him to stay.
Gary,
we're desperate to have
tell
him
me
stay.
one question. Tell me one answer you've given that's made any clearer anything about what you're going to do or anything about that club.
Samuel,
you've played me on a break.
No,
I'm just cannon fodder,
no,
you know that.
But I'm not, look,
and you're a great man.
I don't profess to have any great answers or solutions.
Yes, you do.
But I've been asked, and
what happens if you asked a coach? Jim Stein said, I want you to coach the club, Gary, please. If my last wish, I want you to coach the club. Would you, if he said, I want you to coach the club, please, as my last wish, will you do that for your old China Jim? Would you do it?
No.
Well, don't think about it too long.
I don't want to, look, I know I don't want to coach. And
you do want to coach.
No, I don't want to coach. And the last thing I'm saying on this, all right, one of the things that, you know, got me
Sorry,
mad...
mate, we're finishing
shortly. I know
shortly.
we've got to get going.
No, we've got to get going.
And this is the thing...
Give us something.
That Jeff Kennett said today that upsets me. I don't want to be this... And I've never, ever said I'm a saviour of a footy club. And my absolute preference right now would be to sitting over here and continuing doing what we're doing. That is my God. If someone else was able to, or
God strikes me down,
wanted to do it, then I'd be the happiest man in the world. The fact is, I'm going to help a mate. I don't know if I'm any good at it or not. I'm going to go in. I'm going to do what the only way I know, and that is to try and rebuild relationships and trust within a footy club. Let them know it's a great club. Work hard at it. Do my best, Sam. No guarantees. Bring everyone together and we'll see what happens.
Isn't he a star? Don't tell